What do you think of when you think of a wholesome streamer? What qualities do they show? What kind of things do they do? I want you to hold all those things in mind as we're watching this video, because today we're going to be talking about a self-proclaimed wholesome streamer who, according to him, loves everyone. But does he? Well, that's what we're going to be finding out today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and I wanted to just put a brief reminder in here that today is my second day of uploading every single day on YouTube for this week. And if you want to help me hit 25,000 subscribers before the end of this year, then please remember to hit that subscribe button. It would really help my channel grow, and I would love you forever. But without much further ado, let's get into it. So, I was sent a video and a couple of screenshots from a post that a YouTuber put up on their channel regarding the actions that they took in the video and people's responses to it. Now, I'm going to get onto those in a minute, but I wanted to preface this by saying that this YouTuber has 17,000 subscribers. A lot of people, it's a big community, and I just wanted to throw that in there because we're going to be talking about that a little later on. Now, I wanted to start with the post itself. I'm going to read the first part of it because I wanted you to know how he responded to what people said about him in the comments. So this is what it reads. It says, "It blows my mind to see how many people think that in this video I'm toxic. It's super insane. You know what? Let me make a video against a killer while actually being toxic and then compare the two videos, okay? I will make a video being super toxic just to prove a point that in this video, I'm not even close to being toxic. I will swift with my team and be extremely toxic on stream to show everyone, because some of you clearly don't understand the word toxic. And it's funny to see how many people commenting without any context or without being in the stream, laughing my ass off. You're a fake and were never a real fan, in the first place. Lol, you're just looking for the slightest chance to go after me, and I'm not stupid. I recognize a real and a fake, so don't worry." Now, this sounds like a juicy bit of drama, doesn't it? It sounds like there are false accusations. It sounds like there's a point to be proven. So the first thing I did was I went and watched this video that he's talking about, and I wanted to basically find out, what were people saying? What did he do that was apparently so toxic that he needed to put this post out and be so specific with his words? I'm going to show you the video now, and we're going to look into it.
Beautiful. Nice.
So the first thing to say is that this guy is very clearly good at looping. Very nice to them. And he knows it. He's very aware of the fact that he's quite skilled at looping, and actually he kind of builds his whole channel around providing guides and walkthroughs on how to be a good survivor, how to loop killers effectively, and all that jazz that you see from some YouTubers. And I'm not going to show you the whole video. Well, I'm not going to show you the chases in the video, but there are two things which I want to point to in particular, just because they play a little bit of relevance later on. So the first thing is this.
Teleport.
The clicking. Now, personally, I don't have a problem with a survivor who clicks their flashlights. It means normally one of two things. Either one, they're very bad and they're trying to piss you off because they know they're bad and they're trying to figure out another way to beat you in chase. Sorry, possible hot take, but there it is. Or two, they want to be chased, which is obviously absolutely fine. No hate to anybody who clicks in a match. Doesn't really bother me. I don't think it's toxic, etc., etc. But it's something to bear in mind. The second thing I wanted to talk about is the way he says tunneling. Now, I'm going to show a few clips here. Maybe you can hear what I mean.
Such a tunneler. What a tunneler. Tunneler.
He says it like it's a dirty word. There's so much like vitriol in his voice when he says it. And that comes into play a little bit later as well. Now, in terms of tunneling, because this whole thing is about this dredge apparently being the most hardcore tunneling killer that he's come up against, the dredge kind of tunneled, but also didn't really at the same time. Like, it's not as bad as this guy was making it out. For example, at the start of the match, just after he gets injured, he clearly left him alone long enough for him to get healed, as you can see there. And somebody else had already been hooked at the start anyway, and he didn't go after them. I will, however, admit that during the second half of the game, after this guy has had his first hook, the dredge comes after him hardcore. And to be fair, why wouldn't you? The guy has one gen remaining and he's got 2 hooks. So his best chance of getting any pressure or any kills in this game back is by going after the person who was just unhooked. But he still has that dirtiness in his voice when he calls him a tunneler. Now, the game ends with him escaping. And then we get on to the end game, which is where the truly juicy little bits happen. And this is what the majority of the people in his comments are talking about. I'm going to show you what he says to the Dredge. Straight in and says, "Why tunnel so hard?" in caps. The Dredge replies and says, "Because you were clicking."
Because I was clicking, chat.
Now, I'm kind of on the Dredge's side here. Like, if I'm going up against a survivor and they start clicking at me, one of two things is going to happen. Either one, I'm going to flat out ignore you because I can't be asked, especially if it's at the start of the game. Or two, I'm going to go after you and I'm going to focus my sole intention on you for the entire game. It normally depends on how I'm feeling, what I want to get out of the game. But sometimes I will just go after somebody who's clicking at me because isn't that the point? Now, I would admit, at certain parts in the gameplay, he is clicking, but not necessarily to get his attention. He's clicking at like lockers and stuff, being like, teleport to there. But the killer isn't going to know. He's just going to hear and see the beamer clicking and take from that what he will. And now we get on to where the true interesting part about this endgame lies, because the Dredge is lovely. It's absolutely lovely. This guy says, "Because of that, you tunnel, really?" The Dredge says, "Have a nice day." And it goes on. The Dredge says yes to the tunneling thing. That's the point of clicking. I agree. And he says yes. He agrees with the fact that the point of clicking is wanting to be chased. Okay, cool. So we should be at the end of the conversation there, right? No? Oh. Our streamer says, "Well, it didn't work. And I looped you." Dredge says, "You are very good." Streamer says, "And my team was too good for you." Wholesome, by the way. Just wholesome. He goes to type thanks and then deletes it.
Alright, chat. He's trying to play the Mr. Nice Guy by saying, "I'm a good looper." But I will correct him by, "Why chase me then?"
Okay, so I don't personally think he's trying to play anything. And we're going to come on to that play Mr. Nice Guy thing in a second. But then he says, "I will try and correct him." And say, "Why chase me?" What do you mean correct him? Why do you have to correct someone for being nice? The streamer says, "Why chase me if I'm too good?" Question mark.
Dude, he's trying to play, chat. He's trying to play Mr. Nice Guy by saying, he literally tried to tunnel me. Now he's trying to play Mr. Nice Guy by saying, "But listen, you're good."
That's where this whole Mr. Nice Guy thing comes into it, because the streamer genuinely seems to believe that if you tunnel somebody in a video game, you are not then allowed to be nice because you've already shown your true colors, I guess, is the kind of point of it. The Dredge says, "I am complimenting you, man. Take it positively and stop complaining." Which is a fair fucking point, I think. That's well said, Dredge. Well said. He says, "No, lol." Wholesome, by the way. You remember that word? Okay, cool. You remember that word. He says, "You are trying to play Mr. Nice Guy." He's literally just being nice.
I literally want to help you. I genuinely want to help you. Wait.
I want to help you. The way he says, "I'm trying to help you." No, you're not. You're not trying to help him at all. What you're trying to do is prove to your chat that you're better than him. What you're trying to do is get a one-up on him. You know, this Dredge started being nice, and you didn't like it because it's almost like you wanted the argument. It's almost like you wanted the soul. But instead, the Dredge is nice. You can't handle it. So you try and make it out like he's playing a role when he's literally just saying, "You're good, man. Yeah, you're good. This is why I tunneled you. But you're a good player." Wholesome. I'm going to keep saying it. At this point, the Dredge just kind of ends the conversation by saying, "I am sorry. Most of the clickers are like this. You did great." And then he leaves the lobby. So literally, not at any point was the Dredge horrible. Not at any point was the Dredge trying to start an argument. The only person trying to start an argument was the streamer. The only person being obnoxious and horrible was the streamer. The only person looking for a fight was the streamer. He was obnoxious as hell to the guy, wouldn't just accept a compliment, wouldn't move on, couldn't leave it in the game, and had to try and help the Dredge by telling him how he shouldn't have tunneled him because he was too good. And to be honest, if I had come up against this guy in my chat and we had a conversation like that, I probably would have had the reaction of this guy is a bit of an asshole. So let's move on to what other people said about this. What other people said in the comments and what this streamer took such issue with that he had to release that very strongly worded post. One person said, "Dredge just trying to be wholesome and chase a player he thinks wants to be chased even when he knows how good the player is." Yeah. The streamer's reply was, "Wholesome. Okay, well, I guess that's not too bad." Somebody else left a comment and said, "He was being kind of nice, and also you did want him to chase you, so you kind of got what you wanted." The streamer replied, "Did you watch the VOD and the games before that? No, then please stop talking nonsense." Right, okay. Somebody else said, "Not trying to be that guy, but you could have just took the compliment and move on. Then you say he's playing Mr. Nice Guy, but what if he actually was a nice person, which nobody knows if he is or not?" Very true. Very good point. To which the streamer says, "I'm not taking fake compliments, laughing my ass off. Trying to give me a horrible experience in a game, then failing to do so. Of course they will be nice. Because they failed at the first place. Haha. Also, first time seeing you in my comment section. Weird how it is this video, lol. Go watch my 199 other vids and VODs before barking with a love heart." This comment that I'm about to read to you isn't against the streamer, but instead it kind of proves the mindset that this streamer has towards camping and tunneling. So the person put, "Sorry, but a tunneler isn't going to be a nice guy. Play stupid games and win stupid prizes. He deserved getting 0 kills regardless of the clicking. Regardless of the game chat, it wasn't the optimal play to continue chasing, and although I would hope he learned his lesson, but campers and tunnelers typically are brain dead who actually try to improve upon their mistakes. Well-deserved win from the survivors." Now, you would think if somebody in his comments, this wholesome streamer, if somebody called somebody he played against brain dead and said that, in fact, all people who camp and tunnel are brain dead, you would think that this wholesome streamer would call him on that, right? You think he would say, "Hey, whoa, 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 you can have your opinions, but let's not resort to insults." Oh, no, no, no. He love-hearted the comment and replied in caps, "Exactly." Somebody else said you were being kind of obnoxious in the chat. I agree. To which the streamer says, "I will be more next time." Someone else said, "This is the first time I saw you being toxic. Just take the compliment and move on. I love your videos, but you were toxic. I hope this doesn't repeat." To which the streamer said, "Again, someone who wasn't in the stream, laughing my ass off. It will repeat again." And all of this is just hammered home by the rest of the post that I started reading to you earlier, which I'm going to finish now. Why do I sound so tired and low in this video? Well, maybe because I played 10 plus games in a row being tunneled and camped at 4 to 5 gens. I'm also human, and at some point I got fed up with all those killers. Also, this was my last game on stream, didn't eat all day, was super tired. Yet, there are some people in my comments saying, "You've changed, now we see your true face." Lol, imagine, just imagine. I made over 200 videos, 95% of those are guides and wholesome stuff. I complain in the other 5%. Everyone goes wild. People really forget what someone does in a heartbeat, but I will remember you. I see every two-faced person in my comment section. Now, that was a lot of information that I have just thrown at you, and I do apologize if it kind of fried your brain a little bit, but I wanted to give the broadest picture possible. Okay, now, again, just to be on the side of historical accuracy, there were a lot of people complimenting him in the comments of that video as well. A lot of people saying that he was correct at the game. You know, a lot of people saying that they wanted to be able to loop like him, and a lot of people saying that he is awesome and they love him. However, after watching all of this and reading all of this, there are a couple of points which I feel that need to be brought up. The first one is pretty obvious. One of his justifications for how he behaved in this video and how he sounded was because he was tired. He'd had a lot of games, he'd had a lot of bad games apparently. Okay, if you're tired, stop playing the game. That's point one. You know, it's not that hard even to find a solution to that one. Nobody's forcing you to play. The second point is that you uploaded the video, okay? You didn't put any other context on the video. You uploaded it with the gameplay, with the endgame chat, and that was the only thing that people saw. So you don't really have a right to complain at people who weren't in the stream and were giving their opinion on the video, or for telling people to understand the full context when this is the only context they've given. This 10-minute video that you've uploaded, that's it. That's all they're given. And they shouldn't have to go and research everything about you to be able to leave a comment based on your behavior in one bit of your content. And this next point, the third point, kind of ties in with the second one, in that not everyone who watches your videos is going to be a fan of you. And in fact, not every fan of yours is going to comment on every single one of your videos. Those are two very important points. Your video is available for anybody to see. Anybody can stumble upon it in the algorithm if they watch Dead by Daylight and they watch people who are similar to you. So yeah, this may be the first video that somebody sees of you, and they may jump to a conclusion based on that video. So you can't really get mad when they are giving their opinion based on this 10-minute piece of content that you put up yourself with no more context. Also, in regards to seeing you in the comments for the first time, which is a thing he says to a few people, that has the same energy to me as the people who complain about lurkers in their stream. The people who complain that certain people never chat in their stream. The same obnoxious, entitled energy as that. Not everybody is going to comment on the video. Not everybody is here for that. Some people just want to watch content. And that is perfectly fine. Nobody should ever be ridiculed or insulted or have their opinion completely disregarded because they don't comment on all of your videos. And the last point I want to make based on all of that is just because you make, in your own words, wholesome content does not give you the right to then be toxic. Okay, this isn't like a bank where you start storing away your wholesome points, which you can then withdraw whenever you decide you want to be an asshole for a video against somebody. That's not how it works. Everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does things that they're not proud of. Everybody may fuck up every now and then, and that's completely fine. But you got to take responsibility for it. Now, there was a lot to take away from that video already, but maybe it was just one instance of a fuck up, a misjudgment, right? So I went to watch some of his streams, and the first one I clicked into, this was this weekend, I went to watch one, I found some juicy stuff. But that video was deleted. That stream, VOD, no longer exists. Take from that what you will. But I did want to just present a brief snapshot tour of what I saw in that hour, what I saw him do on his stream in an hour's period. Okay, so when I first joined, he was mid-game against a dredge, and he was already complaining about this dredge camping, when in actuality, him and his team were all dive bombing the hook. He then went down along with one of his teammates. So, you know, what did he do? He worked his way back up, right? A good, wholesome streamer says, hey, it's just a game. I can get back up. No, he DC'd. Straight up DC'd. He got downed. Off he goes. The next game was a game against the Huntress, in which he complained about all of the tiles because the Huntress could hit over them with her hatchets. Essentially, the RNG had done him a dirty. 2 bad games in a row. I'm sure it's going to get better with the third match. He loads in, he hears the Legion music, and he DCs. He literally straight up DCs and then announces that if he comes up against a Legion, a Trickster, or a Nemesis, he will do it again. Also, as a side note on that one, the Legion actually left a minus rep on his Steam profile, and he just deleted it. He went on and he deleted it because he didn't want to tarnish all of the other positive rep reviews that he had, which kind of gives a false representation of your channel and your Steam profile to me, but fair enough. I don't think Steam comments actually mean anything personally, but there you go. And the game in which I stopped watching, thinking that I had fully had enough of this guy, was when he was against, I believe it was a Deathslinger. 2 people had died. He was injured. He found the other person who was working on a gen, insisted that this person healed them, and then when they didn't, and in fact pointed at the gen, he DC'd. Because he wanted to go for a chase, and the other person refused to heal him, wanting instead to get the gens done and actually have a chance at escaping. Wholesome. Now, all the while this is happening, he's complaining about literally everything. Camping, tunneling, the killers, the map, the RNG. Literally anything is on the cards for his complaints. And he also ignores anybody in the chat who asks him why he's complaining, or even calls him on the fact that something he said is actually potentially incorrect, or giving their own opinion on it that contradicts his. The only time he responded to somebody is when they said that camping was like a comp strategy. You know, it's a good strategy if you want kills. To which he said, yeah, well, I'm not playing in comp, am I? But the funny thing is, he had competitive as a tag on his stream. Now, all of this was in 1 hour of a stream. And normally I like to check out other streams because obviously you could, again, just have been having a bad day. 2 bad days maybe. But we give the benefit of the doubt. So I went into another stream. And one thing he really likes to do is talk about bad and good killers. And basically, I can sum this up for you really easily. Any killer is bad if they do anything that makes it harder for him to loop and beat the killer in chases. For example, there was this Wraith.
And they wait DH. It's a hit and run. I told you, Chad. They basically hit you and they catch you off guard another time. And other terms, like rephrasing that, is basically, I'm sorry, I can't chase you. I'm just gonna down you when I catch you off guard. Every wave that does hit and run, no respect. Never cracked. It's never a cracked Russia Philip, you know.
And again, another funny thing about this is that the Wraith wasn't even playing hit and run. Yeah, he had a hit and run build, but he was just going for chases. He would go after one person, injure them, and keep going after them. He wasn't hit and running. But what's really scary about this guy that I noticed in the stream is that the mentality that he shows, the environment that he's created, is reflected in his community. For example, he regularly swifts with a few of his viewers, and in this particular match, he was a 3-man swift, and they came up against a Plague. Now, this Plague wasn't playing very nice, let's say, He was camping with her power and basically made it very hard for them to unhook in any capacity. Which, we know it's frustrating, but you just GG go next, in my opinion. But this guy doesn't in fact do that. Instead, what he does, as I'm going to show you on the screen now, is he pulls up this guy's profile, this Plague's profile, on his stream whilst bitching about him, shows all of the negative rep comments that he has, which, by the way, are all about him camping, which I'm just going to say it now. If you go to somebody's Steam profile and minus rep them because they camped or tunneled you in a video game, you take the game way too seriously. You need to have a think about that. And then the people he was playing with actually started kind of harassing the Plague in the chat, saying that they were bad and commenting on how many minus rep comments they have on their profile. And the streamer sees this and does nothing about it. Just clicks continue. Which, if you're a wholesome streamer who loves everyone, I would have thought that, again, you would have been like, hey guys, no insults. Don't be mean. Right? We just GG go next. But I guess not. I think in actuality what's happened with this streamer is that he has created a bubble. Now, everybody in this bubble, I will admit, is treated lovely. Okay, everybody gets compliments. You know, you should see them all in the chat together. They're all absolutely lovely to each other. And it looks like he creates a very nice, wholesome atmosphere. But if you disagree with him, or if you criticize him, you are immediately shunned and cast out and called a fake fan. And if you're outside his bubble and you say he's wrong, or if you do something which he doesn't like, well, then you're ridiculed and silenced as quickly as possible. Essentially, this is quite far from being wholesome. It's more like a high school clique of bullies, in my opinion. But why am I making an entire video about this guy and this situation? Because I'm sure there are going to be people in the comments who are going to say that in comparison to some of my other videos, and I will admit, it's nowhere near as bad. You know, there's a severe lack of slurs and all that kind of stuff. Which, by the way, you can be toxic without using slurs, just as a side note, because that seems to be something people really don't understand at the moment. Well, the reason I'm making this video is because it was actually one of the community members who brought this to me. And they were seriously questioning whether they and the rest of the community were in the wrong for saying that he was kind of out of line with the way he behaved towards the Dredge in that video. And this really bothered me because I feel like you should be able to offer criticism towards a content creator without fear of retaliation. If somebody in your community, somebody who is supporting you or just clicking onto your video for the first time, if somebody gives you that criticism, you should be able to take it and they should be able to give it without fear of being called fake and being shunned from the community. Behavior like this, all it succeeds in doing is creating a one-sided community, a vacuum chamber of opinions and the result of bullying for anybody who doesn't agree with them. And that just makes people feel worthless and unwanted. And it's definitely not what you should be doing as a content creator to the people who are effectively making what you do possible. And this is not even to mention that he does actually in his streams promote entitlement, complaining, saltiness, bullying, etc. all under the guise of being wholesome. Which I think, as we've seen, is just not really true unless you're in his inner circle. My final thought on the whole situation is that I saw a lot of comments that were saying that this guy didn't used to be like this. He used to be a lot more wholesome, a lot more chill with the game, and used to have a lot more fun with it. But as he's grown and as he's moved on and as he's, you know, just evolved as a content creator, he has become more and more angry towards the game, more and more salty, more and more entitled. And he's basically just kind of let it change him until we now get to this point. And my advice in that point is, honestly, it can happen to anybody. You know, being a content creator and having a lot of eyes on you can be really fucking scary, and it can bring out sides of you that you may not have even known existed or wanted to acknowledge. So to that YouTuber and streamer, if you're watching this, just check yourself. Have a think, take a step back, try and take an objective viewpoint to your channel and your own behavior and think, is this what you want to be? Is this who you want to be? If you want to be this wholesome person who loves everybody, then you got to listen to your community when they tell you that you've kind of strayed off that path a little bit. Just in the same way that I hope everybody watching this who supports me would do for me. If I ever stray off my path, I hope you guys would bring me back onto it and tell me that I am being a dick. You all have permission to call me an asshole if I'm being an asshole. But that would about do it for this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. Please remember to let me know in the comments what you think about this whole situation. And remember as well to leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you haven't already to help me hit my 25k goal and to not miss a single daily upload this week. I love you all. Thank you all for supporting the channel. Go out there and spread some positivity, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.
So let me break it all down for you. I ain't never giving up, I ain't never giving up. I'm taking that crown from you.